So it looks like, according to Zero Hedge, and then they do a phenomenal job of covering things. Trump's tax cut, corporate taxes, he wants them at 15%. Oh, and that's a great number. Oh, that's fantastic, as a matter of fact. But apparently it's going to cost $2 trillion in extra debt to be created. And what about the border wall and the rebuilding infrastructure trillion, As I said, remember, was it yesterday? I was talking about, or the day before? 1980, first $1 trillion in debt. Took many, many years to get to $6 trillion. Many, many, many years. Then $6 trillion to $9 trillion happened like that fast, short amount of time. 9 became 10 instantly as Bush was leaving office. Obama stepping in. He leaves office 2 terms later. Shorter amount of time, we just added $10 trillion. And now we got a new president who is ready to spend. I can't wait to see how high the debt ceiling actually goes in his first term, much less his 2 terms, should he do all the stuff he's saying and everyone wants to vote him in again, etc. I don't even want to know where it's going. Again, we may find it ain't going nowhere because this is about to be dealt with this year or next year or whatever before his first term's even up. If the elite can have it their way, they'll string this along to maybe the 3rd year in his term. Then all hell breaks loose. He's got 1 year left to deal with this. He's going to be trying to deal with it. He's not going to be able to deal with it. And he's going to be voted out. Now, on the other side of that, if he knows this stuff, and he should because he was talking about the campaign trail, he should say, let's go ahead and let this market correct and do what we got to do this year. So then I'll have next year, and I'll have 3 more years to fix things, and I'll become the hero who fixed it. Because that's how it will go, no matter who the president is. That's how it will go. But for whatever reason, he is ready to spend some serious moolah that we don't even kind of have. But then again, we didn't have $10 trillion when Obama was in office. And they printed it anyways. Mortgage buybacks, security buybacks, garbage assets, $4.5 trillion balance sheet on the Federal Reserve. And Donald Trump saying, well, if you could do it for them, and you kept interest rates low for them, guess what? As he said recently, lower interest rates are a good thing. I'd like to see that continue. You don't say. Anyways, Trump to order corporate tax rate cut to 15%, loading up to $2 trillion in extra debt. Ahead of Trump's much-anticipated tax announcement on Wednesday, Wall Street Journal reports that the president has ordered his mostly ex-Goldman White House aides to accelerate efforts to create a tax plan, slashing the corporate tax rate to 15% and prioritizing cuts in tax rates over an attempt to not increase the deficit, which means that without an offsetting source of revenue, Trump is about to unleash the debt spigots, a proposal which will face fierce pushback from conservatives, as it is nothing more than a continuation of the status quo under the Obama administration and may well be dead on arrival. Wall Street Journal adds that during an Oval Office meeting last week, Trump told staff he wants a massive tax cut to sell to the American people, and that it was less important to him if the plan loses revenue. Hoping to add a sense of dramatic urgency, after all, his 100-day deadline hits on Saturday, Trump told his team to get it done in time to release a plan by Wednesday. Translation: Trump's massive tax cut will be funded by debt and as a result will be, at best, temporary, as it will be in breach of the revenue constraints in the reconciliation process. At worst, it will never happen, as it will now require Democratic votes. Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin and National Economic Council Director, Goldman Sachs, Gary Cohn, are scheduled to meet Tuesday to discuss Mr. Trump's tax proposal with Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, House Speaker Paul Ryan, Senate Finance Chairman Orrin Hatch, and House Ways and Means Committee Chairman Kevin Brady of Texas. The meeting comes in advance of a Wednesday announcement by Mr. Trump about his principles for tax policy. While Trump promised to cut corporate rates from 15% down from 35% with the BAT or BAT now out of the picture, there aren't enough business tax breaks that could be repealed to offset the fiscal cost, meaning such a move would increase budget deficits, the Wall Street Journal notes. Roughly each percentage point cut and the tax rate lowers federal revenue by $100 billion over a decade. So a 20-point cut would cost the government $2 trillion, according to the Congressional Joint Committee on Taxation. As we noted above, the fact that Trump has flip-flopped on revenue offsets may have also doomed Trump's tax plan. As the Wall Street Journal points out, any plan that adds to budget deficits would be difficult to advance on Capitol Hill for both procedural and partisan reasons. The president's fellow Republicans, who control both the House and Senate, are aiming to pass a tax bill through a process known as reconciliation, which means they wouldn't need votes from Democrats. However, bills passed under reconciliation can't increase deficits beyond the typical 10-year time frame against which tax and spending policies are projected. So meanwhile, the House Republican tax proposal calls for a 20% corporate tax rate, with the cost covering by including a border adjustment feature that taxes imports and exempts exports. Trump's White House has sent mixed messages about whether it would support the border adjustment plan. Asked Monday if the president's tax plan would be revenue neutral, meaning it wouldn't add to the debt, Mr. Mnuchin told reporters that it would pay for itself with economic growth. By that, he meant that the administration expects to be able to project faster growth due to tax cuts, which would in turn increase revenue and avert the risk of bigger budget deficits. Many economists doubt whether economic growth can ramp up on a sustained basis without a pickup in productivity and labor force growth, and it is uncertain the tax policy changes would do that. Quote, they will lose a boatload of revenue that we can't afford to lose, and far more than this team will offset by closing loopholes, said Jared Bernstein, who was an economic advisor for Vice President Joe Biden. Cutting marginal tax rates for businesses could generate some economic growth, he said, but not nearly enough to pay for itself with increased revenue. These promises about all kinds of growth and investment that are going to be triggered by these tax cuts never appear. And the empirical historical record is clear on that, Mr. Bernstein said. In other words, that makes it difficult, if not impossible, for Republicans to pass a deficit-financed tax cut that doesn't expire without getting Democratic votes in the Senate. Democrats are against large tax cuts for corporations, especially at a time when Mr. Trump is proposing cuts to government spending programs they prioritize, like housing, arts, and the environment. Now, I'm going to raise my hand. Housing? You mean HUD? Riffraff can move in and pay hardly any rent while I got to pay full price, and then they destroy the neighborhood and trash everything? I'm Jason 4, and I approve that message. Mr. Trump, you want to cut money to that garbage? After all, what's his name? Doctor, the black guy that was running against Trump in the beginning. He's now the Secretary of Housing, HUD, whatever his name is. I did a video just recently. We did a little audit. There's $500 billion spent in all these programs in HUD and everything else. Here's the top 7 of huge red flags we found thus far. There's still more to look. And one of those red flags was what I just said. Giving tons of money to people who can't afford to live in a house and subsidizing them. But not only subsidizing them, taking them out of the lower income neighborhoods, very low income neighborhoods, ghettos and whatnot, which also means a lot cheaper rent there, and putting them in next to people like Jason Foyer, who's paying $1,600 a month rent. And I would love to find out how much the neighbors are actually paying out of pocket. Because I know the guy right next to me, his wife absolutely does not work. He's the only one that works. And I've seen the shirt on his shirt, Sears delivery appliances, whatever. And again, my video, Sears is going bust. Dude, seriously, find another job quickly. What kind of salary is he making? 10, 12, 13, 14 an hour at best? Do the math. The subsidization he's receiving over there is probably massive. If I'm paying $1,600 a month here, let's say it's $1,500 or $1,600 a month there, He's probably only paying $200-$300 a month. I'm just going to guess. Which also means the electric bill, the water bill, everything else is probably subsidized along with it. So, anyways, it also means that, as Compass Point's Isaac Boltanski wrote earlier today, Trump's release of tax details on Wednesday will likely deliver only a vague generalization of his goals in coming tax reform effort. And if the Wall Street Journal is correct in laying out Trump's uber ambitious plan, the generalizations will also be impossible to be implemented, effectively killing most, if not all, hope of tax reform for the foreseeable future, as the bickering between Democrats and Republicans will be effectively insurmountable. I could say that I would strongly agree with that statement. They do not want anything to do with that wall, the Democrats. They do not want anything to do with anything touching Planned Parenthood. And those are two key things the Republicans would like to deal with, and Donald Trump especially would like to deal with. But as he said, he's got to make deals. He's a deal-making guy. That's what he does best. He makes deals. And when he said the deals he's going to make is for the American people. However, if you can't get a deal done at all, what good is it? Going to have some concessions. Well, border wall, are they going to take that out? Is it Planned Parenthood? We'll go ahead and keep it, or this, Or is he going to come out and say, I told you I'm going to win. We're going to win so much, you're going to get tired of me winning. Won the Planned Parenthood thing, won the wall thing, won the budget deficits, kick the can thing. I've got two magic 8 balls over here tonight, folks, and I think I need both. Is Donald Trump going to win and win and win on all these topics that have to be dealt with, like in the next week or two? It is decidedly so. And yes, definitely. Now, hold on. Hold the phone. Two magic 8 balls. Both said yes at the same time. By God, we're saved. The economy is going to turn around. Sears is going to unbankrupt itself. Bebe Stores is going to unbankrupt itself. Subway is going to reopen the 359 stores they're closing in the United States of America. And everything else that I've talked about this whole year, day after day, 3 videos a day, is meaningless. Because those two magic 8 balls said he's got this. You want to know what would be funny? If at the end of this week or next week, holy crap, he did. Oh my God, he got the wall. He got the Planned Parenthood. He got the budget he wanted. Kick the can, that's it. Could you imagine? And I come out here and say, double 8 balls called it. The double 8 balls called it. Wow. Anyways, I'm not sure the order I'm going to release these videos today, but I have a WebBot report summary that it's time for right now. I just don't know if I'm releasing that first or these videos first. Haven't decided. Won't matter because you're going to see it no matter what.